Today, we delve into a contentious sports policy affecting trans women, Biden's social blunders, India's lunar ambitions, religious freedom and expression in Sweden, and the struggle of Irish farmers against climate change regulation. All on today's Newsbytes. So here's the scoop. The UCI, the big bosses of international cycling, have made a call. Transgender women can't compete in top-tier women's races, including the UCI World Championships. The new rule starts on July 17th and is part of UCI's goal to keep things fair and square in the female class. They're also open to changing things up as science evolves, according to them. In its statement on the ban, UCI acknowledged that current science can't dismiss physical factors like bone structure, which give biological men an unfair advantage in women's sports. UCI President David Laparent put it straight. Can we guarantee fair competition today? I can't say no, but I can't say yes. This decision came after a seminar about transgender athlete participation and is backed up by a document from UCI's medical director, Xavier Bigard.
Thousands of farmers in Ireland have taken to the streets of the southeastern town of Bandon in County Cork to protest proposals on nitrogen emission reductions. The Irish government has plans to potentially cut EU derogations. That's the system under which farms are permitted to spread livestock manure and slurry containing more than 170 kilos to 250 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. Farmers also said that they were protesting the proposed cuts to Ireland's cows in order to help the government reduce emissions from farming by a quarter by 2030. Officials have laid out plans to cut the national dairy herd by 10%, which is a cull of 65,000 cows a year for 3 years. The rally was organised by the Irish Farmers Association. This protest follows the Dutch farmers' protest against government plans to limit nitrogen emissions and similar protests by farmers in Belgium, also over nitrogen emission rules. Governments in Europe are trying to cut nitrogen emissions as part of the European Green Deal and the Paris Agreement to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. The European Climate Law has set this legally binding target. In Sweden's capital, Stockholm, police have confirmed that they've authorised a protest this weekend by a man who will burn the Jewish Torah and the Christian Bible outside the Israeli embassy. The man said that he wants to do this in response to the Quran burning that happened outside a Stockholm mosque last month on the first day of the Muslim holiday Eid al-Adha. An Iraqi immigrant to Sweden who is Assyrian, Salwan Malmika, stood on the Quran, kicked it, wrapped it in bacon and burnt it, causing backlash worldwide. Stockholm police have confirmed that 3 people will participate in the demonstration outside the Israeli embassy at 1 p.m. this Saturday, the 15th of July. Israeli officials and Jewish representatives have condemned the event and called on Sweden to stop it. In case you missed it, on Wednesday at the UN Human Rights Council, Pakistan and Palestine brought forward a measure calling on countries to do more to prevent religious hatred in the wake of the Quran burnings. The measure was backed by many developing African countries, China, India, and Middle Eastern countries. It was approved 28-12 on the vote, with 7 abstentions, despite objections of Western countries who fear that tougher steps by governments could trample freedom of expression.
So here's the Biden buzz. President Biden had a bit of an awkward moment with a young girl in Helsinki. If you didn't see it yet, he was caught on camera appearing to nibble on her shoulder, then leaned in to sniff her hair, and let's just say she didn't look too thrilled. This incident was spread like wildfire on social media, with users throwing shade at Biden's conduct. It happened as Biden was wrapping up a 5-day trip to Europe, which had its own share of hiccups, including Biden mixing up Russia and Ukraine and their leaders.
India's space agency ISRO has successfully launched the Chandrayaan-3 moon landing mission from the southeastern island of Sriharikota today. Its aim is to land the 6-wheeler rover Pragyan at the lunar South Pole by August 23. A 143-feet launch vehicle named Mark III or LVM-3 blasted the spacecraft into an elliptical Earth orbit, after which it will then loop towards the moon for the landing. Built on a budget of just under $75 million, Chandrayaan, which means moon vehicle in Sanskrit, will carry Pragyan, meaning wisdom in Sanskrit, to the moon. Upon landing, Pragyan will separate from the lander, Vikram. It will then conduct scientific observations and transmit them back to Earth. If successful, this would make India the 4th nation to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon. In 2019, Chandrayaan-2 mission was unsuccessful and it crash landed near where Chandrayaan-3 will attempt a touchdown this time. Will it be second time lucky?
So where's Ireland headed with these eco-regulations? Sri Lanka, the Netherlands, and what about men and women's sports? We want to hear what you think. Don't just watch the world, be a part of it. Comment, subscribe, share, and join us again for no-nonsense news on Newsbytes.